So how exactly does a company go from being a slow, state-run telephone monopoly to a true, globe-spanning powerhouse? Well, it's an incredible story, full of huge bets, a brush with bankruptcy, and one of the most amazing accidental wins in business history.
This is the story of a hidden empire and how a German telecom company pretty much conquered the American wireless market right under everyone's noses. Here's a fun fact that gets almost everyone. That T-Mobile phone you might have in your pocket, its network, its entire strategy, its future, it's all being guided from a headquarters in Bonn, Germany, by a company called Deutsche Telekom. Wild, right?
To really understand how this all happened, we have to rewind the clock way back to the beginning when it wasn't a global company at all, but basically a government agency.
For decades, this one single state-run entity, the Deutsche Bundespost, controlled all of Germany's communications. But in the late 80s, big changes were coming. The old Bundespost was split up, and then boom, German reunification happened. Suddenly there was this urgent, massive need to modernize East Germany's entire network. And out of all that, Deutsche Telekom AG was officially born in 1995. This all led to a huge IPO in 1996 that they marketed as the Volksaktie, literally the people's share.
And you can't overstate the size of the challenge they faced. I mean, this quote says it all. Engineers describe the infrastructure as pre-World War II. Just let that sink in. It took an investment of 25 billion euros to basically drag the network into the modern age. It was a monumental task, but you know what? They actually pulled it off ahead of schedule.
Okay, so with Germany's network sorted, the company started thinking bigger, a lot bigger. Their eyes turned to America. And this led to a decision that was absolutely going to make or break the entire company.
So in 2001, at the absolute peak of the dot-com bubble, Deutsche Telekom paid a jaw-dropping $35 billion to buy a small American carrier named VoiceStream. The dream? To build the first-ever transatlantic mobile operator. But the timing could not have been worse. The bubble burst, and the company's debt just exploded to an unbelievable 67 billion euros. That was one of the largest corporate debt loads in all of Europe at the time.
The fallout was just catastrophic. The stock price completely cratered, wiping out the savings of the exact same people who had bought into that people's share IPO. The public was furious, and the CEO, Ron Sommer, was forced to step down. The American dream had turned into an absolute financial nightmare.
For the next 10 years, that American business just limped along. Deutsche Telekom was so desperate to get out of the deal, and then a failed acquisition somehow, unexpectedly, became the company's salvation.
What happened next is honestly one of the greatest accidental victories in business history. In 2011, AT&T offered to buy T-Mobile US, but US regulators said no way and blocked the deal. Now, here's the kicker. As a penalty, AT&T had to pay T-Mobile a $3 billion breakup fee. And that unexpected pile of cash, well, that was the spark that lit the fire for a complete reinvention.
With that new cash and a very fiery new CEO, T-Mobile launched what they called the Uncarrier strategy. And it was revolutionary. They got rid of those hated 2-year contracts, they introduced simple pricing, and they just went on the attack against the big guys. They made themselves out to be the champion for the customer, and boy did it work. And from there, they just built and built. That struggling American business they almost gave up on didn't just survive. It became the powerful engine driving the entire global company. The result of this American success is frankly staggering. Today, thanks to T-Mobile US, Deutsche Telekom's revenue just completely dwarfs its biggest European competitors like Vodafone and Orange. I mean, they're not even in the same league anymore.
And just think about how vital that American bet became. A whopping 70% of the company's total revenue now comes from outside of Germany. And you can bet the lion's share of that is coming straight from the United States.
And it's not just about money. After merging with Sprint in 2020, T-Mobile's network quality just took a giant leap forward. Their 5G network now covers way more of the United States than AT&T's or Verizon's. They turned what used to be a weakness into a massive strength.
But the company isn't just sitting still. It's now using its size and network leadership to push into the next huge technological frontier, artificial intelligence.
So their roadmap for the future is pretty clear. The big headline grabber is the plan to build an AI gigafactory with Nvidia, creating a huge cloud platform for European businesses. But at the same time, they're pouring money into fiber networks in Germany, expanding 5G all across Europe, and making a big push into the US home internet market. Now, that AI factory plan is especially smart because of this thing called digital sovereignty. Basically, European companies are more and more required to keep their data physically located inside Europe. And as a trusted German company, Deutsche Telekom is perfectly positioned to serve that need, giving them a huge advantage over the big American cloud companies.
So when you put it all together, the company's future really rests on these key strengths. Its American business is a cash machine that no European rival can even touch. Its network quality is top-notch. It's got the size and scale to make these huge investments in AI. And, get this, the German government still owns a major stake, which gives it a level of stability that most companies can only dream of.
Which really brings us to the final, fascinating question. This company has already pulled off an incredible transformation, right? From a state bureaucracy to a global telecom giant. But can it do it again? Can it make that leap from just selling phone service to becoming a real leader in the age of AI? Well, that is the multi-billion-dollar bet they're making right now.